Hey, what's up, guys? I just got back from the gym, but I did mention earlier that I wanted to make a quick analysis on the fundamentals, or at least the earnings release on the security NIO, ticker symbol NIO today. And so, real quick, just before we begin looking at the fundamentals, I want to pull up the chart again so that I could kind of show you where we kind of left off. So this is what the technicals real quick looks like for NIO. Again, you don't see the earnings gap down, but if I zoom into the 5-minute chart, you start to see, yes, it escalated. It declined a little bit more since the time that I was looking at it in the after hours to the time I finished the gym. So this is looking pretty bad. I would anticipate maybe follow through momentum to the downside tomorrow, but jumping back to the daily 1 year, this is what it looks like. So it looks like it went down to 8.3, which might test prior resistance. So again, resistance, resistance, resistance now will become potential support, but we'll see how it behaves tomorrow. Anyways, going back to what I want to sort of focus on right now is the quick fundamentals of NIO, right? But before we begin, I want you to look at the website. The website itself looks very appealing, very attractive, but over time in the investment or trader world, what I found to be useful is that you gotta really look beyond the marketing content, because the purpose of the marketing content is really to sell you, right? As investors, to sell you on your money, but as a consumer, to sell you on the vehicle. So yeah, this looks good, but I know historically, business like these, they don't really have that great margins. So margins are typically very thin. Again, this is known as the Chinese Tesla. But nothing too exciting to me, because if you look at Tesla, Tesla's not, that well, product is impressive, but company CEO, I feel it's a little hyphy. Um, and in business numbers doesn't look too great. So I'm not too attracted to Tesla, but I do want to look at NIO anyways, because I do have a lot of friends who are evaluating the security. And so yes, anyways, again, look beyond the marketing. So if you want to take a look at the financials today, or how do you kind of tap into it, it's really in the investor relations section. And what I did was I just went to that section, go down to the news release, and you'll get today's report. So this is NIO. Reports unaudited fourth quarter and full year 2018 results. So it's going to show you quarterly results for the fourth quarter, and then it's going to show you a full annual 2018 result. And so, going down after the gym, I was kind of reading through this and saw some few interesting things. If you look at operating highlights for the fourth quarter, right, it talks about the specific vehicles that they're producing and the delivery. So it looks like for the production wise, it has increased from 8,000 or to a total of 8,000 from a previous quarter of 4,000. So about 100% increase in production. But production is production. What are the sales? What is the deliveries, right? So looking at the delivery, so they did produce more, but they also delivered more. So it looks like they did sell quite a bit more. So I'm expecting revenues to be a little bit higher from quarter to quarter. So is that true? Looking at the financial highlights real quick, total revenues, right, is at 499 million in the fourth quarter of 2018, representing an increase of 133.8%. So, as typical for these venture capital like securities trading in the public markets, yes, revenue is there. But, what about margins? So, the next line right here is the margin. So it looks like they were previously negative 7.9% gross margins, but now they're slightly positive at 0.4. Again, not my style. It's very thin, but uh, just give the people what they want, I guess. So vehicle sales in the fourth quarter of 2018 representing an increase of 137% from the third quarter of 2018. Not too bad. And oh, so this looks like vehicle specific margin, right? So the vehicle specific margin is actually a positive 3.7%. That means for every $100 they sell of each vehicle value, they make only $3.70. Again, nothing too impressive. And so at the end of the day, they're at a net loss, which was already the case, right? Again, this is a venture capital like security trading in the public markets. I'm not expecting positive earnings. And so that really explains to me the volatile behavior of the security, right? It's like, it'll IPO, zip up, and then chop, 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 and break out, and now it's gapping back down. So again, tomorrow I want to sort of monitor, will it hold the $8.3 price area? If not, will it hold the $8 price area? And kind of just play it from there. Uh, going on to the next part. So key financial results. So this is an easier view on the eyes compared to just kind of reading all this. I do teach an investment club every Sunday, and so every time I review stuff like this, heavy financials, well, this is pretty light to me, but people tend to get really quiet and bored. So I don't want to bore you too much, but just kind of show you the highlights, right? So total revenues from Q3 to Q4 did grow, so they didn't make more money in sales, but due to low, thin margins and maybe operating costs and all that, they actually lost a lot more money than they did previous quarter. So again, that's typical for this type of security. If we were to look at a full year, total revenue looks like to be okay. This is the total revenue for a year, 720 million. So that's kind of like the level where they operate. There are some features or characteristics or there are reasons as to why I kind of do like this security. Not that, I guess you could say that the whole Chinese Tesla part, but again, I'm not a big fan of Tesla. But there is a China initiative to bring on more electric vehicles because I know that their economy is quite polluted from all the factories and stuff. Because we kind of, brought the factories to their world, and you kind of get the point. So there is that huge initiative to kind of put, more electric vehicles on the road. So this is kind of like a security where the government of China has got your back as well, or at least they'll act as a tailwind for the security to go up, which is not bad. So at its relative size, if I recall, at about 10 billion, it's pretty expensive, but the market it's serving is pretty big. So yes, there is a bullish case, but I don't think anytime soon. I think it's going to have to go through a lot of trial and error, especially now that we're in the late stage of the business cycle. That might the securities like these could even go to half or even less, in my opinion. Another thing that you want to kind of pay attention to, especially if you're playing emerging markets or Chinese securities. One is to use like a emerging market proxy ETF, like EEM ticker symbol, or if not, I'm looking at right now Asher, and Asher is basically the Shanghai index. Basically, this index kind of gives me an overview of what's going on in China. And if you've been tracking China for about, up until towards the end of 2018, the entire emerging markets were in a horrible decline. Just recently, during the new year, they've been on a pop, on a tear to the upside. I don't know how sustainable this is. I think it's a little bit overbought. We might see some downside in the coming days. And so that macroeconomic headwind, stack it with the negative, I guess, results of or guidance of NIO, you could kind of guesstimate where the security might want to go next. But moving along, right? Looking at vehicle specific sales, all right? So beyond total revenue, but just vehicle sales only. So I guess the difference here is 720 million and this one's 705 million. So the difference of 15 million might be sales or money that they made from servicing the vehicle or whatever other type of business uh, revenue. Anyways, vehicle margin. So each vehicle, now looking beyond just the business margin, we're looking at a specific vehicle margin. They lose money on every single vehicle. That's not too exciting for me. Again, I'm not surprised for this decline. Right. Again, I don't want to bore you guys, so let's just kind of move along to the bottom over here. So recent development. So we just look at the quarterly results, financials, and then there's a little bit of an annual consolidated financial highlights. Looking down here, recent developments is just talking about some news of the ES8 vehicle in January and February. And then Shanghai manufacturing plant. So a lot of additional news and then a message from the CEO and CFO. I know the video is kind of getting a little long here at about 9 minutes. My plan was actually to try and make this in 5 minutes, so I'm just kind of maybe cut it off right here. But if you guys do have any questions or you want to hear more on the fundamental stuff or ask me to perform more, feel free to reach out. But I'm going to keep the video at 9 minutes and want to say thank you so much for watching this video.